Seems like the God of War Grease rumors are true after all, but what does it entail? We also got some info on the next Spider-Man game, Fable, but we all know, of course, that that's not the biggest news story of the week. A ton to go over, sit back, and let's go. Yes, maybe you heard it, Warner Brothers is closing 3 studios and cancelling the Wonder Woman game. So Warner San Diego, a support studio, the team behind Multiverses, but also Monolith Productions is closing down. With the final one in particular being said, of course, I loved the Middle-earth games they put out, but they also made Condemned and Fear that I know a lot of people loved. I would have loved a Wonder Woman game from them, not because I really love the character or anything, but I still think that world and the lasso, weapon, I think it could all work very well for an open world game, and the concept art looked really awesome. Makes me kinda sad looking at this, but if you know the full story, I do get the decision that they did not move forward. Jason Schreier appeared on Kinda Funny Games Daily to give more background, as he has been talking with many people from Warner Brothers behind the scenes. So after Shadow of War, Monolith Productions did not want to do another Middle-earth game, so they started working on a new IP called Legacy, focused on procedurally generated narrative. So basically the things they explored with the Nemesis system, but taken to a new level. Warner though did not want a new IP because they want games based on the many properties they have. So even though they had the full Monolith production studio working on this new IP for 3 years, they were never going to release it. They had many meetings where nothing was decided, but then in early 2021, Warner finally cancelled it, and then the full leadership team of Monolith quit, and most of them are now at Cliffhanger Games working with EA on the Black Panther game. And other developers also followed them to Cliffhanger Games. So in 2021, Monolith had to rebuild their whole studio because the leadership was gone, but also make a completely new game from scratch, which was Wonder Woman. So when they revealed the game at the Game Awards at the end of 2021, they only just started. Development went on, and in early 2024, so 2.5 years later, they ran into issues incorporating the Nemesis system into Wonder Woman. And this time it should have been more about friends, by the way, instead of enemies. So how the friends will remember your actions and become your ally based on what you did for them. Or maybe they'll go on to hate you and come to hunt you. That has been kind of the understanding, but it's overall really sad that we're now 7 years later without any game with this amazing Nemesis system, and Warner still holds the trademark, by the way, even though they closed Monolith until 2036. But yeah, in early 2024 they had a hard time incorporating the system into Wonder Woman. The game had already cost 100 million, but then they decided to reboot it and go in a God of War 2018 direction. So probably more linear, like if they would have continued, it would have launched in 2029 maybe, and then cost something like 300 million. Really hard to believe that this game would then turn a profit, so I get why they decided to ultimately cancel it. Now let's look at the future of Warner Brothers games, because we learned some new info, but overall this story is of course way bigger. If the president of Warner Gaming's division, David Haddad, wasn't so indecisive and the team at Monolith immediately knew, okay, a new IP is not in the cards, things would have moved much quicker, maybe the leadership would not have quit. David Haddad is now gone, by the way, but the question is if the mess in the form of Suicide Squad, Multiverses, Gotham Knights, Quidditch Champions can be cleaned up. All those games did not perform well and cost the studios that made them to lose a lot of talent. Now Jason is optimistic about the future though, which includes a new single-player Batman game from Rocksteady, Hogwarts Legacy 2, that he said is, by the way, not a live service, so it will be similar to the first game, thank God. Warner Montreal behind Gotham Knights are pitching a Game of Thrones AAA game, and we know James Gunn went to NetherRealm maybe to talk about Injustice 3 or something else. Like, I think it's good to let Mortal Kombat rest for a bit. But yeah, all these projects are still far away. In the near future, like this year, we should get that Hogwarts Legacy Definitive Edition. It was confirmed once again that it's coming and should have DLC as well for if you already own it. I really think we get an announcement in the coming months. And in 2026, a Lego game is planned, which might be Harry Potter related, but that's overall unclear. So yeah, let me know what you think of the whole situation in the comments down below. but it's a big mess, of course, overall. Curious if they will also license some of their franchises to outside studios, like Marvel has of course been doing with, for example, Insomniac. And well, this week we learned that Peter Parker won't be relegated to the couch. Yuri Lowenthal, the voice actor of Peter, confirmed this, which is interesting because the third game is not announced yet. Although, of course, clear that a third title is coming. And without spoiling too much, the ending of part 2 did suggest that Peter would take a step back, but there are many story threads that still require him to be involved. So I always thought it would be weird if Miles would then suddenly clear them. Now we of course still have that Venom game leak, of course. If that's still happening, then Peter would totally show up there too. We'll of course keep you posted here. I would be down for something Spider-Man this year, but I could also see why Insomniac would want to skip the Venom game and just put all the focus on Spider-Man 3. There was of course some divide in the fan base with Spider-Man 2. I'm kind of in the middle. I really see that the game is amazing. I just did not really like the Venom story arc and felt that some things... I wanted endings to certain like missions and things that just did not really happen. So if they need more time and just want to make sure Spider-Man 3 is as good as possible, I would be down, and they would probably launch that as a launch game for the PS6, which would of course be huge. Let me know what you think, of course, in the comments down below, and leave a like. That would really help me out. Also subscribe, because we post one of these big gaming news roundup videos every Sunday. Time for many quick shots and news stories I will go over quickly, starting with Fable. We got some really beautiful new gameplay right here, but this to soften the blow, because the game has been delayed to 2026 to give the developers more time. So that's a prediction from my 2025 predictions video that you maybe have seen on the JorRaptor React channel. It's correct now. I thought it was always clear that this game wasn't going to be released this year. Xbox does not need it, looking at their lineup with Outer Worlds 2, Call of Duty, and maybe even Gears coming out near the end of the year. Now, they did not say early 2026 or spring, by the way, just 2026, so it could be much later in the year. Xtasis, who has been right many times, notes that it's mostly due to technical reasons. According to his sources, they're making adjustments to the gameplay because the game did not seem very fun at first, and they're also fixing the pace of progression. Like, even with this new pre-alpha footage, they're still only showing max 5 seconds, or even shorter, before they jump to something else, which is usually not a good sign. It would suggest that if you watch a minute of the game, it would be pretty boring. Now look, this is still my most anticipated Xbox game. I really hope it turns out well. I think it will already be very exciting to explore this beautiful looking world, but I just hope the gameplay has enough depth and that they really implement the impact of the choices you make very well. Let me know what you think of the new footage in the comments. So real quick, in last week's Sunday video I told you about the Chinese gaming giant NetEase, who was pulling their Western funding to solely focus on their Chinese teams instead. This is not great news because they own and have put money behind a lot of popular studios in the West, including Quantic Dream. Well, this week Quantic Dream said that they are unaffected by the NetEase layoffs and studio closures, and that they will continue to develop their project at a full pace, which of course is Star Wars Eclipse that was announced at the end of 2021. So good news, I guess, although Detroit came in 2018 and they have not made anything since. It kind of feels like a monolith situation. Don't get me wrong, I hope they survive, I hope they launch the game. I love Detroit, Heavy Rain, even Beyond Two Souls. But these projects are not in line with the evergreen mass market hits that the NetEase CEO wants, aka live service games like Marvel Rivals. So even though they are saying we're good, I believe it when they launch a game. We'll keep you posted here. Assassin's Creed Shadows has leaked, like people are playing a copy of the game that got sold on a marketplace, likely stolen. I talked about it before in previous videos, but I wanted to warn you here in the Sunday video as well. Careful when going to Reddit, X, Facebook, you could see spoilers pop up if you are not careful. Now luckily Ubisoft is on top of it, but this made me think of GTA 6. Like, if Shadows gets sold early, what will happen with GTA 6? It will totally have the same issue, probably 10 times worse. Remember that Rockstar had to drop the trailer early because the video got leaked? So that really makes me think, and Luke Stevens in our weekly podcast Free Roam had been speculating this as well. I would not be surprised if they do a physical launch for this game much later. So maybe a digital only early access period for more money, or just the physical launch 2 weeks later or something to avoid a huge leak like this. Because the copies need to be sent to warehouses to get them to stores before launch, so then they will leak. I'm curious to hear what you think about this in the comments. Fascinating stuff overall. We got an interesting rumor, so it's time for the rumor roundup, where I go over the biggest leaks and rumors of the week and give stars, with 3 being I believe it and 1 being let's take this with a huge grain of salt. Now Jeff Grubb is also saying that a God of War remaster announcement will happen around the anniversary in March. On March 22nd, God of War will be 20 years old. That's when the first game released in the US. And on March 15th, there's a 20th anniversary exhibition in California. I will leave a link to this website in the video description for if you are curious. But there's also, to kick this off, an anniversary panel with developers and where you can get things signed. And now Jeff Grubb on Blue Sky notes that I think that those God of War remaster rumors just jumped the gun a little bit. That stuff will happen closer to this. We already know that there will be no live streaming of the panel, so I do not think they will announce it there, but it could totally be that on March 22nd, Sony drops a trailer for a remaster of the 3 games and then launches them soon after. First, I was not convinced, because the sources that were talking about this were not great, but now there's a ton of smoke, and even from Jeff Grubb, so 3 stars that something will happen with the God of War Greek saga, but to what degree, I think is still unclear. PS Plus Premium recently showed Kratos in the PS2 section, so what if this announcement is just the ability to play these games through PlayStation Plus? On the other side of the coin, we have Tom Henderson, who is saying that a young Kratos is going back to Greece for a new game, so that sounds like a spin-off game rather than a trilogy remaster. I still think it would be weird for them to bring those Greek games back with the old gameplay. Like, there will be a God of War TV show on Amazon that will bring in new people, and they will then be confused where to start. Should I play God of War 2018? But this is the prequel, this happens before. Should I play these older games? I think Sony wants them all in the new modern God of War. So again, why muddy the water? But we will find out soon enough. I will of course keep you posted here, and I'm curious to hear what you think in the comments. This coming week, the first week of March, we get the release of Split Fiction, the new game from the It Takes Two makers. I'm hearing very good things, and we'll totally be checking it out at some point. Busy with other games right now, but yeah, if you're looking forward to it, you should be in for a ride. That is not the only thing from EA. On March 4th, Dragon Age The Veilguard will be part of PlayStation Plus Essential. So yes, the basic tier. And this is wild because the game launched a little over 4 months ago. I don't think we've ever seen that for a full price AAA game like this. I say totally give it a try. I did stop halfway though, but I do think booting it up to see if you like it will not hurt. And to everyone who bought it day one, know that you helped BioWare live to see another game, because they're now doing Mass Effect, but if Dragon Age sold even less, the studio would probably not exist anymore. Now we're 2 weeks away, almost, from Assassin's Creed Shadows. Of course, I got more videos about the game coming your way this week. And on Thursday, something really fun will happen. Just keep an eye on the channel, all I can say. Before that, I hope to see you in the Monday stream, where I go over all the news. A link to the countdown for that will be in the video description. And we will of course have a news roundup like this on a Sunday. So subscribe to not miss it, a like on the video would really help me out, and check out my most recent Assassin's Creed Shadows news roundup with new gameplay by clicking on the screen. I will speak to you very soon. Goodbye.